Hi everyone. Today is Wednesday, August 31st, and Trinidad and Tobago is celebrating its 54th year of independence, and I wish everyone happy independence. Today is also my sister's birthday, and I wish her a happy birthday. I also remember my brother who died on this same day. Can you imagine your loved one dying on your birthday? As I think of incidences such as this, I chose the topic coping with sad news for this podcast, as sometimes in the midst of celebrations, we can receive sad news. How do you deal with sad news? Are you able to keep your emotions in check, or do you fall apart? For some of you, it may be difficult to say how you would react, as this may vary depending on the extent of bad news or your situation at that time. The manner in which the information is transmitted and how you process it can also make a difference to how you would react. Somewhere in this mix are also your personality traits, whether you are a nervous type or an extremely calm person. I recall very early in my coaching practice, I agreed to coach someone I knew whose husband had recently died. I was familiar with her situation and the emotional stress that she had to undergo during the year prior to his passing. In supporting my client through her period of grief, I recognized that people's life experiences have a great influence on how they cope with death and grieving. I have also found that many times in conversation with people, when the topic is about someone receiving bad news, whether it is death, the loss of a job, or losing their homes, I would hear comments such as, "That person is really strong. They took the news well without breaking down." Or, "That person took the news really hard and can't seem to get over it." I believe that at some stage in our lives, we would receive some sad or disappointing news, as death is inevitable and life is not perfect. As such, it may be wise to develop coping skills to prepare for such occurrences. You should know yourselves by now. Do you always see the negative before the positive? For instance, do you begin stressing about a situation even before it happens? I know of people who are warriors. They worry about everything and are always on a negative road, thinking of the worst that can happen. But there are also people who look at the positives and are able to move on with their lives despite the news. As an energy leadership practitioner, I speak a lot about negative and positive energies. When you harbor negative energies, your body becomes toxic and you find yourself in a depressed or unhappy state of mind. Could you imagine already being in this mood and receiving sad news? Do you think that your system would be able to cope, or would you go into deeper depression as a result? It is therefore very important for you to have a positive attitude and to strive being at high energy levels to better cope with challenges or the negatives that may confront you. Take note of your life experiences, starting from your childhood days, which can negatively affect your thought process and decision making. If in growing up, you were exposed to an environment where there was always chaos and confusion, when a crisis occurs, then your reaction may be quite similar when faced with a disaster. Unless you reflect on how you would respond to receiving distressing news, you would be unable to determine whether you need to develop coping mechanisms or not. While you should avoid dwelling on the negatives, it is a good idea to be aware of your environs and prepare for any unfortunate occurrences. Being prepared helps to create a buffer and can prevent you from the sudden shock of the news. Recently, I experienced another death in my family, but on this occasion, it was not as sudden as with the accident of my brother. However, due to the long period of my sister's illness and the medical reports received, my family was able to bind together and support each other to cope with the fears and pain. Having loved ones around is a great help, especially when coping with sad news or traumatic situations. On the issue of support, what do you say to your friends or family members when they are troubled about a situation? Do you empathize with them or do you mirror their feelings? At this time, people want to be comforted and to feel that there is hope. So be careful with what you say or the feelings you display in such a situation. I want to end this sad talk on a positive note. I want to wish you a happy, healthy, and fulfilled life. Don't forget, you can chat with me on Connect Coaching Circle private Facebook page and post any questions you may want answered. For individual coaching sessions, please book your free consultation by checking our contact information on Connect Coach Facebook page. I look forward to a meeting with